So we've just had the breakout, and we quickly. So just going back to today's session structure, for those who just came in, we've just finished the 15-minute breakout. We're starting with crypto primer, and you can, as I said, there is a space at the bottom. You can go to the feedback or the questions or check-in area and provide your thoughts. At this point, Chuck, I'm going to hand over to you. Just bear in mind that Chuck is doing a bit of an impromptu presentation on my request. I nearly canceled today's call because I've not been feeling great. But Chuck is going to do an impromptu presentation on crypto, and Johnny from Crypto Clear, who's also joined as the Chief Digital Assets Officer with us now, will support Chuck. So, Chuck, over to you at this stage.
Sure. Well, mostly I'm going to take your questions, and so Johnny McCamley, who's here, is a world expert in this space and has quite a bit of knowledge. He's also a friend of our Meet Amy team and a partner, and so we can probably between the two of us answer a whole whack of your questions. In the chat, I put in three little how to understand things. One of them is around just what the heck is cryptocurrency, and just a little bit of a read there for you, and you don't have to read it now. What is tokenization? And I think that's one of the big areas that a lot of people have asked about, is what is tokenization and how do we tokenize value? And then what is blockchain? And I got to tell you, any discussion in this space is like a rabbit hole that you can go down for weeks at a time, months at a time. Johnny's life has become a rabbit hole, and I'm sure he would agree. I didn't get into. There's lots of other things to discuss in this space, but I thought I would share a story in terms of how value gets created, and value gets created in the web based on some people you might know who are famous. So I guess hands up if you know Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis. Do you know those two people? Actors that make movies. They do a lot of things. Recently, they decided that they have a lot of projects. They work on a lot of projects, and these projects are really great. They write scripts. They're some of the best script writers in the world. They're great comedic actors, and they started to realize that them and about four other people that are associated with them have value. They have value. Normally, if they wanted to pitch an idea of one of theirs, they'd have to go to some clearinghouse for that pitch. It'd have to go to a review panel. It would go to a number of different groups. Sometimes they can get their ideas pitched. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes they can get them produced, and other times, they are in a long time waiting list to get onto some kind of production schedule. So what they decided was maybe we could tokenize our value. Maybe we could allow people in to our value proposition by allowing them to buy into us. And if we are successful, they'll buy into that success. It's a little bit like Kickstarter in that regard, because you're buying into a company's success by buying into a sponsorship, but normally you just get a few pots. But here you're going to get a chance to be part of the success of their franchise and their work and their intellectual capital over time. You get to buy into that and own a part of that play. And they did that through a tokenization model, not unlike what we're trying to do here. And it's a very interesting way of attracting people to your project, your value, and what you want to be able to offer onto the web. So I wanted to use that story to tell you. You can look at it more. I think, Johnny, you could weigh in on what the value proposition is there if you wanted.
Yeah. I mean, just with as you say, Chuck, tokenization really is all about capturing that value. Just as another great example, there was a Banksy piece which was bought for around $66,000, I believe, and it was tokenized in the blockchain. It was then destroyed, the physical copy, and it's sold for around 3 to 4x its value. And that's because there is more value in having a Banksy on the blockchain tokenized than physically. Just as an example, you could probably find, probably none of us know anybody, but you could find a good con artist, if you like, that could do a fake Banksy up for, £2,000, where even some of the best eyes in the game would find it very, very hard to differentiate between the original, the real McCoy, if you like, or the one that's just been made up. And so blockchain, that's the beauty of blockchain technology. It's authenticated on the blockchain as a 1 of 1 or a 1 of 10 or whatever it happens to be. And that's where the value comes from. And people seek that value out. There's I'm sure you have all seen in the news, or at least seen in different places, about the Bored Ape Yacht Club. It was just 9 months ago they were selling for next to nothing. And now I believe the cheapest one's around $200,000. And again, that's the value aspect of the tokenized asset. There's only 10,000 of them. There'll never be any more. They're now a brand, I believe, a blue chip brand. And so exactly what Chuck says, it's all about where does the value come from for tokenization.
Yeah. And I would also argue that at this point in our evolution in the business, so I'll dig into my history at IBM for a second and just say that back when I joined IBM, there was a time when there was a group of us trying to explain to IBM, in my case, working with the chief technology officer, a guy by the name of Irving Walensky Berger, who was chief technology officer about the time I joined. We were trying to tell him that the internet, and that was pretty much in terms of web commerce and everything that was going to be going on around the future of the web, was going to be one of the biggest transformational businesses in the world. And I can completely recall him saying, who the hell would put their credit card onto the web and buy stuff? That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to buy this technology. It's all a waste of time, and it's all not going to happen. And a group of us were saying, no, this is going to happen, and everybody's going to be using web commerce. It's going to be the way it went. And literally less than a year later, the whole company transformed and became a web technology company, converting everything, and the whole ship moved. I know Dash was part of that and understood all of that movement that was going on, and we moved it to a web-based delivery company. And I'm hearing exactly the same story now, many years later, and it's all around digital assets aren't going to happen. Nobody's going to buy them. Nothing is really going to happen with them. It's a false economy, and there's all these other concerns about it. Meanwhile, if I can show you a report by Forbes that shows that cryptocurrencies have been the most adopted, fastest adopted technology in human history, more than television, more than radio, more than anything else you've ever seen. Cryptocurrencies have been adopted faster. And that just gives you a signal that humans are definitely in favor of this direction and technology and what we're going to do. So that little story bit and the pieces I put out there, I just wanted, between Johnny and I, we could probably answer most questions you'd ever have around digital assets or cryptocurrency or tokenization or concerns like that. Would you like to ask some questions?
Can I ask a question, Chuck, if that's okay? So
yeah.
I think, in terms of cryptocurrency and the basic fundamentals of it, it makes sense. I think where I'm struggling personally, and my mind may change within that magical year, is for a digital asset that has a value. The Banksy, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't smell it, you can't hang it on your wall. For me, the stability of the value of a digital asset like that is not tangible is only what people are willing to pay for it, but they can't really enjoy it. It's a very odd concept, and for me that just feels right now really risky, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone else is the same, but
it's always been a concern that people would pay for, and you kind of feel it was risky. If you collected hockey cards, or if you collected soccer cards, or football related stuff, you know that was always risk. It was what people were willing to pay. Humans have collected since the beginning of time, and this is just another collection.
It's one that needs a big leap of faith and that mental jump to really understand.
Yeah,
So I do find that really challenging.
What about
Particularly
does it not make you happier to know that yes, you are making a leap in faith, but so, I'm using hockey metaphors because I'm a Canadian, but I collected a lot of hockey cards that I then stuck in the spokes of my bike and lost them all and did a number of other things. Having an immutable record on the blockchain that says that you own that and you are the only person that owns that and you bought it and have control over that asset forever and ever, does not that give you a little bit more comfort than the old way that we used to do collectible?
I think it does, but for me, the challenge is it takes the enjoyment and pleasure away of that collecting. It becomes an asset for the sake of having an asset rather than something you can enjoy. You can take down off the shelf and thumb through.
yeah. For me, it would sort of be like I would also share that with you, Mark, as well, to an extent, even though I would be an avid collector of NFTs. Like, just as an example, you can maybe see in the background, I'm an avid collector of Lego Star Wars sets that are quite rare. So I have a couple just sitting in the background behind me. I enjoy looking at them. I do take them down sometimes, but I also get really, really, great joy of, for example, going into my OpenSea account, when I'm sitting on a Saturday night or whatever and go, what NFTs do I own? And how much do I have to buy to fill the collection? NBA Top Shot is a great example. So just as Chuck was saying, I was a Yu-Gi-Oh card collector, and all my cards are up in the loft in my parents' house, and they're completely destroyed because I was throwing them about and mucking about with them. And were these cards on the blockchain moments, which they are NFTs, I actually do prefer them. If I could tokenize, which I could, but if Disney was to tokenize Lego sets, because I don't open them, I would rather buy the digital version, one of 40,000, as opposed to buy the physical copy, which, just as an example, when it shipped to my house, it got damaged. The outside of the box, it got damaged, and there's nothing I can do to.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, Johnny. I think maybe the kind of person that would not want to open the wrapper would be the kind of person that's more comfortable with a non-fungible asset or token, but the kind of person that does want to open the wrapper maybe never will be. It's really interesting for me. I just want to share the observation. There wasn't a question. Sorry, Chuck.
No, that's fine.
I think there are a couple of, I know, Jake, your hand is raised as well. So I'll let you go in first. And I just want to add, Mark, I think I understand where you're coming from. I've worked with you before, so I understand how your brain works on this. It's how we use these to actually work through concepts. And we'll cover that. But before that, Jake, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, just very quickly. On that touchy-feely, holdy, real solid thing, I'm okay if it's an investment proposition, right? I don't have to touch the thing. In fact, now I know it's safe. But what my barrier to entry is my own lack of confidence in not getting tricked. I don't have a clue. Even if I've got one of you experts sitting next to me saying, click here, click here, click here. Next week, when I try and open my wallet again, I'm not even going to find the thing, never mind the key that unlocks it. So, I don't know if I'm being scammed or what. So that's my barrier to entry. And it's good that we have two of you guys on here that knows about this stuff, because I'd like to get into it.
Mm-hmm. Jake, you are my customer. So the company that I have and we're working through is exactly you as a customer, but through advisory services. So one of the things we've determined is that a lot of people in the world don't want to get into doing this and don't want to have a wallet and understand all the machinations that need to go on behind that. Johnny and I talk about this all the time. So what Meet Amy was brought into the world to do was actually bring this back to putting it into your financial advisory services or your bank or places where you trust, and allow that trust to be happening and controlled through traditional financial institutions that will take that on. So now you're seeing big banks are going to be custody holders, and they'll hold cryptocurrencies and digital assets for you, and they'll start to do that. In fact, there's more money in Bitcoin now than the top 5 US banks combined. And so they're starting to realize that they can hold that and they can make that in control. So I think there's so many people like you that don't want to get into the mess that is out there. there's companies that are starting to form to be able to help those consumers deal with that. And that's why we're in business. And so totally agree with you. We've got to take the risk out of this. We've got to put control in place. We've got to put regulatory, guardrails in place. We've got to have different tax controls in place. There's a whole lot of things that need to be put in place. They're just like in the early days of the internet, as I was describing earlier, these kinds of guardrails didn't exist either. And there was a lot of craziness, and of course a .com crash, which proved that it was weak in terms of some of the implementations. So anyway, don't worry. Yeah, go ahead, Dash. You have a question too.
So I think Muthu's raised his hand, and also timekeeping. So Muthu, do you want to go next?
If you have a question, you already raised your hand, Dash. If you want to go first, you can go first.
No, mine is just to answer. Let me do that. So let me answer how we are looking, as in why are we even discussing crypto on this forum. So when we started, if you remember, people who've been on this journey for the last 4 years, we've been talking and we do things and we meet up and all that stuff. But hasn't been an objective mechanism for us to collaborate. Now, that's where we brought the SOS tokens first. Now, and it is one of the topics when I go into the announcements, but we are looking at using the SOS tokens as a payment in lieu mechanism, if you like. If we had money in the bank, we would be working with people, paying them the fiat money or the money as we know it today to get the work done. As an alternate to that, the way we are looking at crypto here is saying the SOS tokens is real money. Let's give it out to people who are contributing to this effort. And at some point, this will get a valuation, one hopes. And that point, it then translates back into the real money that we all are familiar with. So that's one use case that we are following here. But the other one is things that you can't touch and feel. And they're no different to membership cards. If you had, let's say, a gold membership card and you get access to the lounge and things like that, you can have an NFT which has that different leveled access that you get. And we've done that with the Beta coins, which we announced last time. But those tokens have been created so that you can say, yeah, I have bought a token for cause 1, which is zero hunger, therefore, or rather no poverty is cause 1. Therefore, any project that we undertake which is related to no poverty, I have a voice now and I can say, yes, I'll support that project, or no, I won't. So those tokens have many different values. It's not just money, but even a voice is an important value, especially when you start decentralizing organizations. These are all very valuable propositions that way. So
yeah, that's a very good point. And by the way, Johnny's company is working on that exact problem of loyalty points and loyalty following, and building assets and a tokenization of loyalty points so they can be reapplied in various opportunity spaces. That's exactly an area we're going to work on.
Yeah, we're working both on the as Chuck and Dash, we're gearing towards, we're working on both the token aspect, also issuing a secondary token for rewards on top of that, as well as building an NFT project currently on the Cardano blockchain. So I'm really excited to come in and really help the token one, but also the NFT scale a lot quicker due to the experience we have with even marketing. For example, an NFT is completely different to marketing anything else you'll come across, because it's a different world with the Discords and the Telegram groups and everything else. So it's a real exciting space, but still completely infant. And as Chuck was saying just about the internet, just a quick note on the metaverse as well. If you think the crypto, I still think the crypto is early. The metaverse is even earlier. It's the metaverse is like Bitcoin in 2013, even where it's at right now.
Yeah.
But the good news is our Avios will never expire again, Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hold that. So, Muthu,
Yeah.
do you next? I want to leave some time, because last time we had to rush the rework project. So, Muthu, if you want to.
Yes, thanks, Dad. I think So my question is more about, I understand the blockchain and the NFTs. I can see something about it, but I think the challenge I have is mainly around maybe my understanding or thought process is the valuation for crypto. Okay, you have a 1 day it's a fluctuation and valuation. I think there is a Bitcoin. You have a view about there's a limited supply and whatnot. I think it's a digital world. I think you may not have Ethereum. You don't have a limit. You can generate how much ever it is, and it's a usage. I understand people use it. That's the valuation comes from. But there is, I'm trying to understand. Where does the value come for cryptocurrency? I don't understand the projects and the technology, but where does the value? How do you drive value for cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, so just myself, on an investor level for the long term, how I value a crypto asset is its use case. That's to me what it boils down to. If it doesn't have a use case, as Chuck was alleviating to, it will die over time. I think that crypto will go through a very similar cycle to the dot-com crash. I wasn't around at the time when that happened, but I've studied it and compared it. But yeah, like I think 99% of crypto assets, just like .com, will go to zero because they have, a lackluster team, if you like, that's maybe too focused on the money. They're not focused enough on the use case, which is the big selling point for the value of a token, and also the tech maturity of crypto assets. So blockchain technology, a lot of it's open source, some of it's obviously closed, but there would be nothing stopping, for example, everybody in this call copying the Bitcoin code and calling it Bitcoin 10.0. So, that wouldn't be good technology maturity, where the likes of a Cardano, let's just say, has pretty good tech maturity right now, just as an example. So that's where I would say the value of a crypto asset would come from.
Yeah, scarcity obviously is a big part of that in the value, and the scarcity model is always been a problem or an opportunity. I know that people that are now collecting certain assets, let's take Bitcoin for example. I have an investor that's in our network that has 680 Bitcoin. I'll let you guys do the math on what that is, but that's a lot of Bitcoin. It's a lot of money. But he has it tucked away in a bank in Switzerland. It's not really doing much for him. If you go to a site like crypto.com, you can trade on that money. You can loan on that money. You can do different risk profiles on it. You can have your own credit card based on your money. There's 1,000 other things you can do. You can actually be making this value, this inherent value that was you bought through scarcity, make more money for you in real fiat currencies and real opportunities. So there's more value to be had there. I'm totally on board with where Johnny is. If the project doesn't make sense, then the cryptocurrency and asset doesn't make sense. There's some really good ones that I see coming that I kind of go, okay, that project makes total sense to me. I understand why.
Right. Okay, guys. I'll have to. It's such a deep and wide topic. What I'll do is, you know who to reach out to, guys, if you need any support. Yeah, bring it up on this forum. We can also, if you want, we can even start a channel on Slack if you want to point questions there, and maybe I'll do that. Why don't I do that anyways? So if we move to the next topic for today, which is, and I'll go back to my screen share for a very brief moment. So I've pasted a link in the chat. And this is an activity we started last time we met. The rework platform, as we call it, is really looking at how we revisit or visit the existing industry. I like calling it industrial age working models, but how do we make this fit for the future? So we started this exercise. If you can jump in, I can see some of you have jumped in, but anyone can jump in as long as you can click that link that I pasted. So the approach we are taking here is we are taking a very startup approach. There is already a platform in place, version 6 of the platform, which I keep talking about. And I'm more than happy to do a demo of it at some point, or you can, I'll paste the link. You can go and have a look at it yourself. But what we are doing is taking a slightly different approach. Instead of starting with what we've built up over time, we're taking a view of going back to the drawing board and saying what are the real problems that we face in the current working models, and identify solutions based on those problems, which we can then collaboratively deliver through the rework platform. So we're using a strategize map here, and people who were there last time, who know the drill, by all means just start pasting your thoughts there. But Strategize does some great work as far as thinking these things through is concerned. We are only focusing on the right-hand side today. This is where we are understanding the customer in a bit more detail. And there are essentially different types of customers. There is the enterprise, which hires people or accesses services. There are the small businesses which provide services to enterprises, and they also hire professionals. And there are professionals like us who either work as independent professionals or we work as permanent employees, delivering our craft into one of these entities. So goal here is really to capture what are the jobs that we do in our work life, not jobs as in I go and write a piece of code, but things like, if I'm an enterprise, as in some examples here are, if I'm an enterprise, my job is to job that I have to do is do the recruitment. I have to retain staff, I have to look after staff welfare. If I'm a professional, I need to start building relationships. I need to network with others. So these are just examples of the jobs to be done. And then there are the pains. What are the challenges we face today in getting our jobs done? And those may be things like recruitment is broken, whatever that meant. Someone contributed it last time, or accurate and honest job descriptions don't exist, or working across different time zones is a pain. And likewise, gains are how do we measure something as being successful? So what would good look like, or what would success look like? And here there's a reliable sources for new talent, upskilling of existing staff happening seamlessly. I'm assuming that's what the person meant. And honest and independently verified ESG credentials are attractive. So these are all gains. Now, feel free to add your thoughts here. I've broken it down here if you want to go directly into those grids. If you're thinking with an enterprise hat on, then you can start putting your thoughts there. Likewise, if you choose any of those, really. We are doing okay on time. At the moment, it's 45 past. But yeah, get stuck in.
Dash, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know how to get to this page everyone's working on. I've got...
Me too.
There's a link in the chat. What I'll do is
I'm on Mural, yeah.
Yeah, so once you go into Mural, yeah, that's it. You should be there, no?
No, that just shows us the presentation you had up, but I can't get into the detail of it.
Same here, unless I'm doing something wrong.
There are two different links. Let me paste. The second link is different, by the way.
Okay.
I can only see one.
I've sent it again now, if you want to have a look.
It's 1746, okay. I got to bail. Thanks, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Great to meet you, Jake.
I'm going to be in touch, buddy. Thanks.
Brilliant. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. See you later. Bye. Sorry, Dash, just for me myself as well. I'm able to get access to the links, but it just shows up for me validating URL for all of the links. It doesn't, it's been sitting like that actually from you dropped them in. I just left them there to sort of load to see if they've done anything. I've tried refreshing them a few times as well. Nothing's came out of it.
See, mine
Cute.
came up weird, so I had to go to the little tiny image on the small right-hand side, and then you can kind of see where it's highlighted, where Dosh is at on his screen. And when I clicked on that, then it showed up on my main screen. But now it has me logged in as both the spider and the hippo, so I'm in there twice.
Okay, I'll try that and see if that does anything. That's brilliant.
Yeah, mine's just saying validating URL and doing nothing else.
Yeah, just tried it there. Mine's still validating as well.
Are you using the one that I sent across at 1746? The
Both aren't working, Dash. I mean, I tried both.
Yep, it's a Microsoft Teams internal error. It's, you know, it won't let you open a link unless it's 100% sure that it's
Oh, see. Do you want to copy it and paste it? Maybe that's another way to do it. Or you can type the shorter URL, which is the board/rework.
Yes, brilliant. I'll give it a try now just by copying it in.
Doing some kind of security check on it.
Yes, there we go. If you copy and pasted it, it shows up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Brilliant. At least we know for next time anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a good one actually. Yeah, I'll remember that. And don't worry about getting this spot on right. Just this is a brain dump of things that you feel are not working in today's work world, I guess. World of work, rather.
Josh, I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Go on.
On the, let me go back to it. On the customer jobs part, is this gains? Is this pains? What is it asking as far as customer jobs?
No, so jobs to be done are, for example, if you were going on a business trip, the jobs to be done would be, for example, book a hotel or pack your bags. Those are the kind of jobs to be done with respect to go on a holiday or go on a business trip, rather. So those are jobs. Now, if you were looking at pains, you may say, actually, finding a reliable site which gives me a non-fluctuating price or gives me unbiased reviews is probably a painful thing these days. Maybe that's a pain, right? And a gain would be if I turn up at the hotel and they have people forget or there are different kind of PowerPoints are different in different countries, and the hotel always had a bank of adapters to suit the origin country, I guess. Then that would be a gain, because that's like, wow, I've been thrilled with the service I've been provided. So it's different dimensions there, but the jobs to be done are things you must do in order to achieve. So things like in a work environment, the jobs to be done are go find a job, get a promotion, keep up to date on your skills, for example. So those are jobs that we have to do in order to enjoy our work life. But the pains may be not finding, and I don't want to give examples with this because it starts biasing, but there are quite a few pains when it comes to finding work quite often. So those are the pains you would write, and gains would be how would you measure success that the world of work is working for you. There is a link I've put the link. If you scroll to the very top of the board, there is a video there which actually does a far better job than I did in explaining what the value proposition canvas is. It's right it's that colorful blob at the top.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I get it. I was just couldn't figure out the customer job part, but I got it now. I added one in there.
Yeah, as in this board will remain live, by the way. So at some point soon, we are going to obviously run out of time, but you're more than welcome to go and update this later. It's a great example while you're doing it. I think it's a great example of collaborative working, and this is kind of future of work example of how we can actually collaborate from our sitting rooms and wherever we are right now. And the time is right for collaborative models now.
For the next session, Dash, I'll just be on a desktop in future. I'm just sitting here on a tablet, and it's very, very hard to drop and drag the sticky notes with my fingers. So the next time I'll have to remember to jump on a desktop.
Yeah, good point.
You know, just for everybody to know as well. Sorry, I also dropped in that chart that Chuck was talking about, comparing the adoption of Bitcoin to the internet, just into the chat room.
Dash, I'm going to have to run. I got people at the door. So I will go. Johnny, we'll catch up. Thanks so much for helping me today.
Definitely, Chuck. Real pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Sure.
Bye.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks for running it. So we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left. There were a few announcements. If we can, as in carry on working on the screen, by the way. But what I'll do is share my screen if anyone wants to look at it, and I'll just cover off the final bits of the announcements. There aren't many. There is a DOS network. This is more for UK audience, people who are on the DOS network already. There's a briefing session tomorrow at 5 p.m. Where we'll be looking at the current implementation of the platform and how it can be used to fulfill DOS opportunities. So if you're not on the DOS network, this is of no value. The second one, which I do want to encourage everyone, I did make some announcements about the mastermind sessions. We did kick them off. And Nick and Link and myself, we got started. There is interest from a couple more, including Johnny, who's on the call, and one other person who's not on the call. So I'm hosting a briefing session about what Mastermind is, how we are planning to use it. Maybe if I call on Nick, just to give a brief overview of how you felt the Mastermind session worked and what kind of benefits you are likely to drive from it. Nick?
Yeah, thanks. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is getting honest feedback. I mean, within the mastermind groups, there's only 3 of us so far, but we've each got different goals. We're not trying to work towards one common goal, and mine is to do with computing workshops. But what I'm increasingly desperate to get is some people to critique my ideas and hold me to account, because I'm finding it quite difficult to prioritize and plan my small business. I've got a vision, but I'm kind of bouncing around a bit, trying to get towards that end point. So yeah, it's I think that the honest feedback will be crucial to me, because I know I know I'm suffering from tunnel vision, and I think I know what is important, and I'm probably doing the wrong thing. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping to get out of it most. But it's yeah, it's very useful just having those conversations with people who aren't your friends and family, and who don't feel under any obligation to tell you what you want to hear. Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how our next session goes, because that's when Link is going to be in the so-called hot seat. So that's when the spotlight is on him, and he brings to the session a particular issue that he's facing, and we try and kind of figure out how can the rest of the group help him. And I like the phrase that on one of the advice groups, it said, the idea is to prevent that person wasting their time. What advice can we offer to prevent them wasting their time? So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how that works out, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. As in, no, thanks, Nick, for that. And Link, do you want to add anything? I know you're coughing and sniffling at the moment, but
Oh, I'm holding it together. I'm very excited about the mastermind group because it's as we talked about, it's a balance of a support space, but also like it's a professional support space, but in a way that, you know, we're not worried someone's going to take our ideas and run with it. Hey, if you can do it better, please, by all means. I've got enough going on with my own idea, right? But it's also to hear ideas about my ideas, right? Know that it's safe, be able to bounce those ideas back and forth, and also not feeling forced that we have to contribute or help. You know, if I don't have anything to add to Dash's idea, for example, then I'm not. It's not my fault. You know, we're holding each other to account to do our work, but not be responsible for each other's work. And I think that makes it even better. It's a great space that I want to show up and share ideas there. So I appreciate the space. I'm excited to see what the hot seat's going to be like, and I hope that they won't hold back on giving me all the critiques I can possibly handle.
we won't be. But anyone else who is interested, so the focus or the goal for so mastermind groups have to have a common goal. So this particular group that we've formed is all about impact entrepreneurship. So if you are looking to do anything relating to impact and start off on your own, it is a lonely space. But let me know. The briefing's on Friday at 3:30. And I'm more than happy to walk you through the specifics and details. And yeah, come along. The last bit, I think we are probably just about overrunning. The last bit is, I think I touched upon very briefly. So we are looking to now put the SOS tokens to good use. What I mean, and people, for those who are not familiar with SOS tokens, these are tokens that we have on the Stellar network. These are crypto tokens. They are a mechanism for us to account for the contributions that each one is making to the smalloutside.com project. Longer term, there is an intention to convert this. So if all goes to plan, we would be looking to have an ICO where we can attract external investors. In fact, we have a couple of people on the call, Scotty and Ryan, who discovered us because we had the SOS tokens out. But at the moment, until we get the FCA approvals, we don't want to go down the ICO route. There are regulatory frameworks we have to honor. So at this stage, these tokens, I would like them to be awarded. So use them as two things. One is a reward model, which recognizes individual contribution and needs shaping it and some exchange of ideas there. And the second one is this is where if you're looking to build a decentralized and autonomous organization, then consensus decision making becomes very important. So there is a way to use tokens to do to get to consensus decision making. And that's, again, I'm not suggesting we are creating a DAO at this stage. It feels a lot like we are creating a DAO, but we are not. I think we are somewhere halfway in between. So if you are interested in participating in a working group which bounces ideas and shapes, so the outcomes from this group are likely to look something like, that's the reward mechanism, or this is the currency value, if you like. So people who come in and do X get Y in reward, and so on and so forth. So, or these are the checks and balances we need to put in place. So if anyone's interested in contributing ideas to this, then please let me know. I would be delighted to jump on calls. It does mean an extra demand on time, but me doing it alone or me doing it with one or two other people will be very limiting. I would rather we shape it as a group. And again, it's optional. Whoever can contribute would be really welcome. So that was the last update I wanted to get in there. I'm going to unshare my screen. I think we still have most people, looks like it. We can shift across to the informal session at this stage. Are there any questions regarding the announcements that I've made before I stop the recording? Okay, I'll stop the recording at this stage. I'm going to stay on if any